Jordaan, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing great. I really appreciate your time here to come talk to me about the Sage Intacct Accountants program. But before we get in that, I would really like you to sort of introduce yourself, who you are, why you're even willing to talk to me.
Okay, absolutely. So I'm Jordaan Burger. I'm the managing director for Sage in the Africa Middle East region. I've only been in this role as managing director for about 6 months now, so still new to the MD role, but it's going well. I haven't broken the company yet. And I think something which I should mention is that before I became MD, I was finance director for the region for over 6 years. So I'm actually a finance professional, so very passionate about Sage Intacct for accountants, accountancy in general, ERP systems. So kind of a rehabilitated bean counter, if I could call it that.
I don't know if that's fair, but I think the first time I met you was in Cape Town at a partner conference, and we actually got to do a kind of fireside chat session all about technology and accountants and kind of where they're going. And so this is kind of like full circle back to that moment.
It is full circle, and we had some real accountants on stage with us, Matt, if you recall. So it wasn't an easy flowing conversation.
Well, I think that sometimes, you know, we spend time working day in, day out as accountants, so we don't always get a chance to be on stage. So it is one of those moments where it takes us out of our comfort zone, but it was a really fun time.
Yeah, I agree.
So, one of the things I like to talk about is the Sage Intact Accountants program is brand new. Tell me a little bit about, Sage's vision here, your vision for the AME region of what Sage Intact Accountants means to Sage.
So I think it's a really good opportunity for us in our region specifically. We launched Intact about 4 years ago, and we've picked up some real momentum with Intact, but we were solely focusing on end customers. Accountants being such an important part of our business gives us the opportunity to really scale at speed. And we want to use our existing relationships with accountants out there to actually see if we can enhance the service offering that they provide to their clients. And so far, it's been going well. We've started this program already, and the momentum has been there from day one. So very excited about where that's going. From my perspective, we just want to get Intact in the hands of as many clients and customers as we possibly can. And with this being a secondary channel to us just selling directly or through our business partners to end customers, I think this was the logical next step for us to take.
And I would say this is really in support of accounting firms providing advisory services, outsourced accounting services. And we know that Sage Intacct is a highly verticalized program or product, meaning that there's modules that really fit into different vertical markets. Why do you think that's so important for the success of accountants and the success of the Sage Intacct Accountants program?
So I think clients are just not satisfied with generic support anymore. If you think about, I wonder if you've read the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. It's one of my favorites, and he talks about the 10,000 hours. And it's as if all of us spend 10,000 hours in something very specific, and we become very proficient and professionals in that area or in that vertical. So I think from a client perspective, they're just no longer happy with the generic answers, generic templates. They're looking for something applicable to their industry, something of a playbook, something which has KPIs more related to their specific business, something which could differentiate them and set them apart from their competitors.
Yeah, so I think what you're saying is that the more focused accounting firms are in their advisory services, the deeper their relationship with their clients get and the more value they can deliver to that client base. And how does that play back into, in your perspective, into what Intact offers those firms?
So Intact is very strong in a number of verticals if you look at it just from an ERP perspective. But I think where the real benefit is that templated approach that we can follow for specific verticals. Because Intact is really strong in terms of multi-company, multi-entity platforms and businesses, you can apply a certain playbook, certain standard dashboards based and suited to a specific industry to actually give the customer the value very, very quickly. And I think that's what customers want. They've been on a journey for many, many years. They understand the business that they operate within, but they want something, like I said, that sets them apart. They want to get new insights that they've never had before. And that we see more and more we can deliver to those clients through Sage Intacct for Accountants.
Yeah, and in that same concept, I think what you're talking about is what Sage Intacct solves, but what's really those difficulties, those challenges that firms are having right now that aren't in Sage Intacct that you're seeing? What is the kind of feedback that you're getting from the ecosystem that are using these sort of downstream products or legacy products?
So I have to again put myself in the shoes of our clients and customers and say the biggest frustration for me when I was still in a finance role is someone coming to you and saying, what is this number? What is that number? Whether they from your marketing team, from your sales team, from your HR team. And then you don't have the numbers at hand. So what we're trying to do with the newer products is to be very strong in terms of our dashboards that we expose to the rest of the business. So we're aiming towards a more self-serve approach. Instead of people coming to the finance team with standard questions and repeatable questions every now and then, we say, okay, if this is really a need from a marketing point of view, we're going to build a dashboard once and you're going to use it in your function many, many times. And it's live reporting. So the rest of your business can gain those insights in a live format. And that used to be a limitation with the legacy type products. There's obviously a lot more in terms of benefits that we can offer clients through cloud. If you think about things like AI, but I would say it's more about that self-serving capability that we provide the rest of the business. We want to be able and empowered to make decisions based on the right data, and that data needs to be live.
I love that you brought up AI, and I think this is a great segue. We know that Sage has been investing in AI since probably 2016, and is leading the pack when it comes to ERPs and embedded AI into their product. And I think it was just announced that the like AI close automation and some of the more advanced features are coming to AME. Um, what are you seeing in the overall accounting space and how AI in a more broad perspective is being utilized by those firms?
Man, AI is a really technical and rapidly changing phenomenon, if I can call it that. So it's almost as if we need to constantly update and adapt our approach as well. What we've learned over the last couple of years is that AI on its own is not a differentiator. It's about how you actually apply it in your products to address specific challenges that your customers or your clients have. Um, we are trying to be very specific where we provide the capability to our clients so that they can get the real benefits, so that it's not just a buzzword. And our CEO, Steve Hare, said earlier this week, trust is such a big element with AI. It's not good enough in the world that we operate in a finance world, to get the numbers nearly right. That's not right enough. We need to have the numbers spot on. And I think that's really where our focus has been, to provide AI capability that people can actually rely on.
And what you're talking about here is specifically what Sage is calling the trust label, and really a very specific approach that Sage has taken into the development of your AI. Where did that trust label come from, and where do you see it as an MD, and the importance and impact that it has?
We realized very early that trust is going to be a differentiator when it comes to AI. Um, you know, there's a reluctance by people to adopt AI if they don't understand where their data is going, what they're exposing their data to. And I think the edge that we've had is that we've got this digital network um, that we've built up over years with all of our customers' data, and we've got the ability to adapt our large language models to extract exactly what it is that we want and serve it back to the customer in, like I said, a very accurate form. Um, I've said before that we are very focused on where we apply the specific AI use cases. Um, and we know that if we lose that trust once, it'll be very detrimental to our relationships with our customers. So that's why it's really such a high priority for us.
Well, and what I think is interesting is that we know what's happening in the accounting space in globally. We're having a shortage of accountants. We're having a high amount of people retiring or aging out of the workforce. Where do you see AI fitting into to support firms in that reality? And how does it help drive more value driven services that firms can deliver for their clients?
So before I answer that question directly, I think what I've learned over the last couple of years in my finance career is that our talent requirements have changed drastically. Um, Instead of just looking for people with a solid accounting background and articles and a good qualification, we've come to now realize that we need to be looking for people with really good data skills. These days, if you want someone in a commercial finance role in a corporate environment, it has to be someone that can write a SQL query. It has to be someone that's proficient with Power BI reports. It has to be someone that embraces technology and someone that's willing to experiment with something like an Intact ERP system to get the most from it. With regards to skills leaving the market, I think that change in talent and what we are looking for plays a really big role. We're not just trying to replace the numbers with exactly the skills that are leaving. We're trying to fill the gap with the AI and with the automation. And the impact that has is that I think we can, in general, uplift the um, day-to-day tasks that people do from a finance perspective, rather than doing those repetitive, mundane data capturing related activities. They can focus more on providing insight, doing analysis, etc. So, very excited to see what's happening there. And I think I just need to also mention that we don't see AI as a replacement for human expertise. We actually see it as a force multiplier.
I'm really glad that you talked about that because I think there's a lot of fear around what AI brings, and I like to dispel that fear. And I think that's also kind of where Sage's uh, mindset is in this. Why do you think there is that fear that the general community has, but accountants have? And how do we get past that? And how do we really focus on that force multiplier?
I think it's because it's something new to a lot of people. I think the media plays a big role in spreading that fear. And I think it's because it's not something we really know what we need to do with it. I think the moment you start experimenting with AI and seeing what it can actually do for you, you do start seeing the benefits. And I think the finance industry is just one of those industries that really leans itself to, like I said, replace the mundane, repetitive tasks with something more exciting and more uplifting. Um, we want humans to do the thinking work, to have the strategic decisions that need to be made in the business, whilst we've got things like AI and automation taking care of transactional activities.
And with the embedded AI that Sage, specifically Sage Intacct has, and how that's going to play into accounting firms moving forward, where do you see that help them in that role of the trusted advisor?
This is where I get really excited to talk about the specific features, Matt. So there are so many, and we are constantly bringing out new functionality. You also said it earlier. We've got the close agent, which is coming to our region shortly. But just in terms of the elements we've had for a while now, there are things like general ledger outlier detection, which picks up errors and potentially fraud before it actually gets accounted for in your records. It's a fantastic tool. It's not something you need to set parameters on. It actually learns from your historic transactional activities and flags something where, the combination of the general ledger account, the amount, and the dimensions that you apply to a transaction don't look familiar, and it then raises something for review. Um, there are other elements which are really good in terms of the repetitive tasks. AP automation is one of those where capturing supplier invoices, it's being done through OCR technology, which has been with us for many, many years. But then what it does with the data it gets from the OCR is it actually learns from, presenting the data to the user, seeing what changes the user makes, and then within 4 weeks of using AP automation, Sage Intacct can present your draft supply invoice for you to capture with a 97% rate of accuracy. So that saves an awful lot of time. There are other elements such as Sage Intacct Intelligent Time for people who are selling time and materials. We've seen real benefits for our clients there, where it actually increases their billable hours as well. And that technology looks at all of your activities, your meetings, the emails you've sent, and proposes a timesheet at the end of the day for you, which you can just make amendments on. There are many more elements I can go into, but to name a few, those are the ones that excite me.
Well, I'm gonna pick on one that you didn't talk about, and I really like to dive into with accountants their value in report generation and report analysis. So one of the things that's really cool in the embedded AI that I'm seeing coming out of Sage Intacct is the ability to ask it questions in the large language model and get back actual reporting of your data instead of having to go and build an individual report for each component that you're looking at. So how does this reduction of manual reporting provide insights to firms, and what can they do with that for their clients?
I'm going to split my response into two. Yeah, Matt. I think in the first instance, what that capability gives you is for, let's say, less advanced users to actually get what they need to make their decisions. So it enables a user to engage with the product and with the data via prompts, and ask for the large language models to present it in a certain way. That is very valuable for someone who likes to self-serve, who maybe doesn't have a finance team supporting them. And they may even gain insights that they didn't really know that they needed. We call the module, the AI module in our products, we call Copilot. Um, and Copilot in many instances will provide you with insights as well. So you don't necessarily need to prompt it for the insight. The insight will pop up and tell you your debtors days. Did you know your debtors days are increasing? Do you want more data on that? So that's really powerful. For the more advanced users, if I think about finance teams, finance professionals, the dashboards and the reporting in Sage Intacct is phenomenal. And it's very user friendly. We see a lot of our customers and clients self-serve. So it's not something where you need to be a whiz in terms of programming. If you understand the basics of reporting and you understand finance in general, you can self-serve in building reports, exposing it to the relevant stakeholders in the business. And that's also very powerful.
One of the things that I think isn't talked about enough when it comes to the reporting aspect in Sage Intacct is the statistical side of what is possible and how to overlay that into the financial side to really get even more insights. Um, what have you seen firms doing when it comes to that and deploying that kind of advisory services around sort of those level of insights, those non financial overlaid to financial insights?
Yeah, I also love that functionality, and I think it's really powerful in giving clients insights into their business. Where we see it being applied is in the hospitality industry, as an example, where you've got reporting on the the number of rooms being utilized, the number of rooms that you have that are not being utilized, or where you are where you're busy with maintenance activities. We're seeing that same principle being applied in healthcare providers in terms of their beds, how many beds are occupied, um, their numbers per bed. We see it in logistical businesses where they look at the fuel efficiency of their fleet, and look at, the project side of it. If you apply the statistical data to a specific project, you can actually see what your profitability is going to be. In a South African context, I think something which is really, really powerful is adding the triple BE element in terms of a statistical tag to your data, to help you improve on your triple BE reporting, so that you're very efficient in that way. So I love that functionality, and it is great.
Okay. Well, look, I know you're a really busy guy and you have a lot of things to do, and we're coming up on time here. But I'd like to ask one final question. If you had one message to give to accounting firms that are doing advisory services about Sage Intacct Accountants, what would that message be?
I've got so many messages, Matt, but I'll stick to this one. I think it's very important for accounting firms to take note that the world of finance is changing. You need to inspire your people, the professionals that work within your firm, to embrace this technology. There are various ways of going about it. You can self-serve in a way by exposing your finance teams to AI agents and different use cases. But what we see as being very, very effective is utilizing a strong platform like Sage Intacct for Accountants, where you can see the value very quickly and then build your skills on top of that platform, to expand on it. I always say that, we shouldn't let perfection stand in the way of progress. So instead of thinking you need to do everything and you need to put AI into your business entirely in one go, get something in, start using it, start seeing the value that it brings to your business, and build on that going forward.
Amazing. Well, look, Jordan, this has been wonderful. I really appreciate your time. I get to see you in about a month, so I'm looking forward to that as well. And till next time.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for having me, Matt, and looking forward to your visit.